obviously kind of a main general question that people should know, but again, with animals still being left in cars and it still happens, how dangerous can this be to their animals if they are left in a car for a period amount of time in significant heat?
Yeah, hot cars can kill animals is the hard reality. And it really depends on, you look at the temperatures outside and also the animal inside the car. The breed, the age, how much fur does it have? Does it have a flat nose, a long muzzle? Are the windows cracked? There's a lot of factors, in dogs at cars, but just knowing that air temperature, when it's dangerously high, yeah, it can kill an animal.
Absolutely. And I know I got a little email from Melinda about, that specific chart, but obviously what is the danger zone when it comes to the weather, and how fast can that heat rise?
Yeah, so it's really, the car is shelter. It can be safe shelter for an animal. I think we're concerned when we're getting into temperatures above 70 degrees. Again, you never know what that animal, how long the animal's been in the car. Have they had water recently? Are people looking at them in that car, stressing them out? Are they an anxious animal? So, an animal might not be affected in 80 degrees, but it could be again, I just get that out of there. You want me to start over?
No, you're good.
Yeah, so it's really hard. I don't like to give a number because it depends on where that car is parked, what kind of animal is inside, and what are the factors affecting, that animal, if it's, and how it's reacting to the heat.
Absolutely. And I know, my dad is someone that, my dog cannot be left alone at the house because she has separation anxiety and she barks the entire time. So a lot of people, like my own father, for example, will try to bring the dogs with him and park in shade.
Mm-hmm.
Does that really make a difference even in significant heat with shade?
It can make a difference. That doesn't mean that we're not going to get called, and that doesn't mean that you're not going to have a conversation with an animal welfare officer or a community service officer or a patrol officer, and we're going to talk to you about the dangers of having your dog in a car, because it could be in the shade when you walk in the store, and the sun could rotate depending on how long you're in there, and it not be in the shade any longer. So yeah, and we will be taking temperatures inside your car to say this is how hot it is in there. Is there water in the car for your dog to satisfy their needs?
So I want to give a little bit of a scenario for
Mm-hmm.
people. Say there's someone who can't leave, has to bring their dog with them in this heat, has to bring them in their car. Is it an absolute no to do, or what can someone do to try to make that comfortable for their pet?
Well, if I'm looking at somebody leaving a dog in a car and it's comfortable for that dog, I expect there to be a person in there waiting with that animal as well. Because if that person can be in the car, then it's not too hot for them. A lot of time we expect our animals to have higher thresholds, I guess, and that's not the case. So no, it's not safe.
I want to ask, do we see any, have things been reported and then talked with the people when their, animals get reported for being in their car? Are we seeing an age demographic? Are we seeing, specific people that are doing this?
No, it's kind of everyone. It kind of back to your, they want to take their dog, for an outing, I guess. But that outing can become dangerous because you lose track of time if you leave your dog in the car. And again, this is it could be a violation, just like a simple $250 fine, or you could face a criminal charge depending on what your dog, what we see when we get out there. So it's not something, that you should take this seriously, because you love your pet, and also because you want to, keep your pet safe, and you don't want to, have any charges against you.
Absolutely. And is that if you're called, is that the fine that is received $250? Does it?
Yeah,
vary?
so it kind of varies. So it depends on what we see when we get out there. You might just get a warning. You might have a conversation with us. If we feel like you have neglected your animal, if we feel that air temperature is too high because we've just taken a reading, you could be cited a $250 citation for animal neglect in the second degree. If we have to pull your animal out and take it to the emergency veterinary hospital, that, you know, you could be looking at a criminal charge because of your animal, you know, was close to is suffering. It's in distress. So there's a lot of different factors we have to look at.
Absolutely. And what would you say, you know, I'm kind of me, for example, I am currently, you know, I'm a new resident in Eugene. It's summer, I have a full-time job, but I want to get a pet.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to someone who right now like wants to get a dog, but maybe doesn't have the means to do it? Do you think this is a good time to do it in this weather if they do have to go somewhere and have to take the dog with them?
Yeah, I think it's always a good time to get a pet, to bring home a pet, and it's a commitment on your part. I think crate training is really smart to do. You know, you have to do that. You have to teach your animal to trust the crate training, to, you know, do that at small intervals at a time, make it a positive experience. So there's a lot of things you can do. You just can't force it, you know, your animal into a certain routine. But I think crate training, having a safe space at your home to where you don't have to rely on taking your animal with you everywhere, you know, kind of is what we need to do, because you can't take some of us, let me start that over. It's nice to be able to go somewhere without your animal, I guess, and plus if you're having to keep them in your car even when it's cold, people don't realize, like, freezing temperatures, that's just as dangerous as hot temperatures in the car. That car is, you know, acting like a refrigerator. And again, depending on the type of dog or breed, being too cold is dangerous for that dog. So a car isn't, you know, a safe all year option for an animal. Let me answer your question too about crate training. And also nowadays people have, you know, our cameras where we can kind of see what our animals are doing when we're not at home and work on those behaviors, you know, because we don't want to leave a dog at home in an apartment barking and just, you know, disturbing the neighbors. So there's a lot that we can do. You know, technology really helps when we can keep an eye on our animal when we're not actually home.
Absolutely. And just kind of going into statistics, even I know it's kind of early into the heat this year. I know we had a little bit of a heat wave. But what are usually the statistics? You know, like how many calls are you getting with, you know, animals being in cars, that danger, you know, how many, you know, fines are giving out, how many warnings?
Yeah.
Do we see an uptick in it? Is it kind of normal? Has it gone down?
Yeah. No, this spring's been nice because we haven't hit like the consistent 80, 90 degree weather, but we have been getting dog, you know, in car or animals in car calls. Most of them, and a lot of them, by the time we get out there, sometimes the car is gone, so we don't make contact with the owner, or the dog's not in distress. But we will have a conversation with the dog owner as far as the temperatures will start rising some more, and this could be, you know, a dangerous pattern. So maybe think about keeping your animal at home.